I tried to stop her. I told her you were nice people.
Who killed Elaine? This creates a plot for the next movie and also create questions in viewers' mind. So in this video, I will explain you the ending of Deadly Illusion, and before that, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to never miss a video from us. Mary is a successful author known for her thriller series and happily married to her husband Tom with twins. Her publisher asked her to write another in the series that she has long since put to bed and offer her a lucrative 2 million in advance. She is forced to accept when Tom reveals he lost bunch of their money. To help with her duties as a mother and author, her best friend Aline suggests she get a nanny through a fancy agency. Mary agrees, but after a series of bad interviews, she considers giving up. Then Grace appears and is seemingly perfect. However, Mary is suffering from writer's block and uses her blossoming friendship with Grace to help get over it. Here is where the synopsis blurred lines of reality and fiction came into play. Mary starts having what seems to be elaborate sexual fantasies about Grace, which she confides to Aline. But when she approaches Grace and says they can't do it ever again, Grace doesn't seem to have any idea what Mary is talking about. For reasons that aren't quite made clear, Aline begins to worry about Grace, though there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with her marriage, as far as the audience can tell. After a near miss in which Tom walks into the kitchen while Grace is going down on Mary, she becomes more paranoid. She goes to bed not feeling well and has what seems to be a vivid nightmare of Grace and her husband fornicating in the kitchen. She accuses Grace at dinner in front of the kids, which upsets everyone involved. The next morning, Mary apologizes, blaming it all on her writing-induced Hulk out. But when she asks the nanny agency why they haven't cashed her check, they tell her they would, but she hasn't yet picked a nanny. Mary goes on the hunt to figure out who Grace really is. First, though, she goes to Aline's office to apologize and ask for help, but when she gets there, she finds Aline dead, with a pair of scissors sticking out of her neck. When Grace gets out of the police station, however, it is revealed that she is the main suspect and police have footage of someone who looks like her is going to Aline's office and her fingerprints on the murdered weapons. Mary, not yet arrested, flees the station and travels to the unnamed small town to meet Grace's aunt. The aunt, who has some kind of dissociative identity disorder, reveals that Grace was one of the several children who were abused by their parents and was the only one to survive, and that's how aunt came to have the custody of her. Clearly though, escaping to the aunts was no cakewalk either. On their way home, Mary calls her husband and leaves him a voicemail, telling him not to let Grace in the house. Unfortunately, he is in shower and doesn't get it. Grace appears, dressed in a dominatrix outfit and brandishing a knife, and after some ham-filled dialogue, she attacks Tom in one of the most clumsy and half-hearted fight scene choreographed to date. Mary comes home frantically calling for her husband but finds Grace instead, who says she has no idea what happened. Mary finds out Tom bleeding out in the bathroom, but Grace still claims not to know what happened. But then she says, "I couldn't stop her." The big reveal is that Grace has another personality named Margaret, who is the personality that helped Grace survive her parent abuse. Margaret and Mary fight, and Mary clocks Margaret over the head with a flower pot. 1 year later, Mary and Tom are happy. Mary deposits a manuscript at the Aline's grave and then goes to visit Grace in a secure hospital. The next twist is the ending, in which a woman, presumably Mary, but who knows, leaves the hospital dressed in the same setup that Mary was supposed wearing when she went to kill Aline. Firstly, in Mary's case, she is diagnosed with PTSD and an out-of-body experience. Moreover, the end also hints at the involvement since she wears the same attire at Aline's office. A potential motive of Mary's crime can be that she is probably discontent with Aline's pointing out the affair between Tom and Grace. She seems a good friend of Aline, but Mary flips out when she is questioned. It is clear that Mary herself is affected by trauma and Elaine's meddling in her personal affairs might have triggered her anger. She wants to hide her infirmities, and when threatened to be exposed, she has a fallout. Perhaps Mary commits the deed out of the impulse that helps her complete the story. We can reach the conclusion since Mary dedicates her manuscript to Elaine, essentially is helping Mary acquire a muse for the story. Elaine herself became one. Secondly, Grace's split personality and her vicious outlook point at her misdeed. But had it been so, she would have been confined in a psychiatric ward for prisoners. But that is not to be the case. Grace does follow Elaine and Mary from the beginning, but she has the chance to infiltrate into Mary's life. However, Elaine stands to expose Grace's true intention since she sees Tom and her together. Maybe it is out of protecting her self-interest Grace kills Elaine. Still, the concluding scene tilts into Mary's involvement in the crime because the similar way of her sneaking in connects the two distinct dots. So was it Grace in Mary's clothes, having murdered the author and escaped the disguise? Or it may be Mary, just in her clothes, weirdly covered up? We don't know, do you? Drop that in comment section, and if you have any more ideas, please tell us. And if you like this video, hit the like button, and for more such content like this, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon.